I wanted to do this video before Lilith went into Gemini, but it's been a struggle trying to get things together. So I am at the playground. I might get some interruptions, but I wanted to talk to you about Lilith and Gemini. So let's move over here, shall we? Okay, so am I insane or am I sane? The God duality and the dark goddess of chaos is in the sign of chaos. Expect that with this full moon that we currently are in, as I'm streaming live on the full moon in Aquarius, that this is a trine, air trine, that is going to showcase a lot of the aspects of Lilith and Gemini, which is this chaotic energy. Hi, 305 Capricorn, what's up? I apologize for my voice. I am still trying to get it back. And you might have to hit captions on this bad boy. So the Lilith and Gemini message that I have for you is, am I sane or am I insane? This energy can create various levels. For the people who have the less amount of Gemini understanding, impact, or strength or confidence in your chart, like if you lack confidence in Gemini energies in your chart, then you may struggle the most with this. For the people who have strong Gemini energies, you are probably going to be seen as the angel or the devil. Let's get ready. If you guys don't know, your girl has a moon in Gemini at 1 degree. So Lilith in Gemini is basically right there for me. And so because I am actually going through it right now and dealing with some of the chaotic energies of this, I really want to share with you that there are various levels to this. And the first one is the introduction level, which is pure chaos. What does that look like? Well, let's be real and honest. The first one it can look like is bipolar. It can look like two different sides or aspects of a person. And wherever Lilith or wherever Gemini is in your chart, Lilith is evoking that two aspect sides of you. Okay? Now, for me, it's in the house of publishing. And because I have a moon there and I have Chiron there, I've already been working those dualities, right? I'm working with my angelic and demonic dualities. But if you're not comfortable with your own demonic duality, which is your own shadow sides, there's two parts of you. There's the you that's you, and there's the mask you, the you that you pretend to be, right? Until you embrace that you, and then you are just two. You are just two devils, basically. So it's about understanding that you may be dealing with certain situations that feel like you're losing your mind. Certain people around you may feel like they are losing their minds. This is all very natural according to the transit of Lilith and Gemini. I actually feel like this is a great time to evoke the talk of mental health. I'm actually creating an affirmations album, which is going to deal with mental health. But I really want you to consider that with the people in your lives right now. Consider mental health. How healthy is the mind able to deal with itself? How healthy are you able to deal with the chatterbox in your brain? How many of you know about the show or the story of Alice in Wonderland? And they meet the Mad Hatter. Mad Hatter is such a great symbol that I'd like to share with you as a way of understanding Gemini energy, but even Lilith and Gemini. Because quite often you may deal with certain situations where you don't understand what somebody is saying, especially if you're not strong in your mind, right? You may be confused. You may deal with confusion. But you can always read the essence of a person by their body language, by their actions, and by their style and their swag. Somebody could be screaming at you, but maybe they're like hiding behind the tree or hiding behind the pole. What does it look like when somebody's screaming at you, but they're hiding behind a pole? I want you to feel comfortable with your own sense of insanity, because what that is just confusion. Your own sense of self can be lost at this time. And that's okay, because sometimes this idea or this identity of what we are, how we express what we are, is masked in what we think other people want us to be. Why do I say this? Okay, let's go back to the principles and the principalities of Gemini and what Gemini is, okay? Gemini rules over the part of your chart when you're 3 years old. This is the part of your chart that where you start to mimic people. You start to learn language. Keep in mind, I said you start to learn language. A lot of people F up with 3-year-olds because they swear that 3-year-olds like are creating like their own expressions by their own choices of language. No. 3-year-olds are merely mimicking what the people around them are saying. And everything that they say is typically an expression or something that somebody that they heard around them say. 3-year-olds are able to test the limits of people. If you tell them no, they might try it again. Why do they test you? They test to see your boundaries. They test to see the effect of their causes. Where Gemini's in your chart is where you deal with your curiosity, right? This comes from that 3-year-old testing. I'm testing. I'm curious to see if mom or dad says no and I keep doing it, what will they do? Now, if the mom and the dad or whoever is saying no to the 3-year-old understands that the 3-year-old is testing them, understands the breed of the human that they're dealing with, then they'll see it as a joke or like as a comedy, right? But if the mom and dad get upset and say no and like get viciously angry at a 3-year-old, well, the 3-year-old has learned something. I'd like to say that the 3-year-old has learned hypocrisy. And where you deal with Gemini is where you deal with the themes of hypocrisy, of being a hypocrite. Why? Because we often don't recognize that people are mimicking us, that we are projecting, and that projection of energy is coming back to us. Okay, so I'd like to give you an example of that. I'm dealing with my own stuff, but my relationship is something that I keep hidden. It's something that I don't necessarily talk about. But, I'm inspired by my relationship to do spirituality. And a lot of the things that happen in my relationships, I turn around and use the esoteric meanings to create content and ideas, right? So today, my other half actually expresses himself online. I could take this in two ways, but the most important thing that I needed to take was the Gemini energy. That if I was to ever be upset by something that he says about our relationship or that reflects off of our relationship, that I too would be bathing in hypocrisy. So this is what I want you to do. I want you to look at the things that you see externally from you and look at how they are turning the energy back towards you. They're merely mimicking you. Okay? There's nothing good or bad. It's the duality of Gemini. And this is why we deal with the situations of insanity where Lilith and Gemini happen. We deal with insanity because we can't take our own hypocrisy. We can't take our own duality. If you try to be somebody who's always the angel, you will deal with insanity because you do have a shadow side. And if you're somebody who's only identified with being shadowy and demonic, then you too will deal with your own insanity for sure, because you can't see your own softer side. You can't see your own angelic side. So when we're dealing with Lilith and Gemini, those are some of the things that I really want to bring to the table with you, is the mental health. And this is my way of helping you to deal with the insanity. Am I insane or am I sane that you might deal with during this time? Now let's talk about some more cliche things that happen here with Lilith and Gemini, my friends. Okay, getting off of my own personal life, and let's just talk in generalizations. Lilith and Gemini will often evoke 3 levels. Okay, Lilith does. The first level is the most chaotic dark goddess that you will ever see. This part of the goddess feels outcast, and she will take to the word, to the media, to anything that gives her a voice, and she will vocalize her, her point and stance on things. This Lilith and Gemini dark goddess may exhibit past lives of being somebody who was a gossiper or a slanderer, or somebody who really just didn't care about what they said. This person who evokes a Lilith and Gemini in her most darkest goddess is the most chaotic with her words and can strikingly hurt people with their words. Anybody who has Gemini placements, I encourage you to take time and patience with your words, including myself. Take time and patience with your words, because the air element that you evoke with your planetary placements may be like, not a big deal. It may not be a big deal. But to those who have more emotional, watery, earthy placements, it might really be strikingly difficult. For people who aren't comfortable with their duality, they might really feel uh, painfully in a mental prison due to the way that you speak. So dark goddess Lilith, right, doesn't care about what she says or how she says it. And anybody who takes it a certain way is just clearly not God, right? They're not in their God space. They can't handle her. She doesn't care. She becomes a god or a goddess of slander. Yeah, she might even be a whistleblower. She might be somebody who, defaces or defames somebody with actual truth. All right. Now, if we're allowed to go there, I'm gonna have to actually say that sometimes it's not actual truth. Sometimes she defames somebody and slanders somebody with lies. Because when we're dealing with the darkness, there are no rules, people. There are no rules. Okay, the only thing you get is what you get back. And so the dark goddess basically is able to handle anyone who lies about her. She's able to handle anyone who slanders against her. That's why she's so freaking scary. She's scary because she is able to handle her own energy coming back to her. She's the master of Gemini. She's the master mimic. She can take what somebody else says and do it and then take it for her own. She can be a plagiarizer. Okay? Now, let's move into the second level of dark goddess Lilith. Right? Another level of dark goddess Lilith is to be the victim of all these things. Now, you're clearly not the dark goddess, right? You're the victim of the dark goddess in the second level, meaning that you're not able to handle the pushback, but you're also not necessarily in the space of chaos either. You might even consider yourself a good person. And I really do feel that people who are really angelic in their purpose, they may fall victim to this energy. I'm sorry, you guys. They might fall victim to this energy because a lot of people say that they want to help and they don't really want to help you. They want to help because it makes them look good. You know what I'm saying? I think I've said this before, but there's some people who give to the homeless, and then there are some people who tape themselves giving to the homeless. Okay, so it's not like I'm judging anyone, but I'm saying that if you cannot deal with your shadows, then you may fall in the second level of this Lilith in Gemini energy, which is the victim. Meaning that you may be a victim of somebody exposing you. If you've been somebody who is really keen on looking good and speaking the right words and maybe even hiding some of the things that you really want to say because it might hurt somebody's feelings or it might just not make you look good, that means that you're trying to uphold only one side of the duality, and Lilith and Gemini will not allow that to happen, unfortunately. During this transit, if you find yourself being and only being angelic, then you may fall victim to somebody trying to gossip about you, somebody trying to slander you. You may, if you don't like people mimicking you, there's a lot of people who are out here like, you shouldn't be a tarot reader until you've had like 15 years of experience. And, I see people like taking my stuff. Like, if you don't like that stuff, then you're going to have a real problem with the dark goddess of mimicking, right? So you have to understand that everybody's mimicking everyone, that there's barely anything that's ever new under the sun. right? And so you may be victim to somebody plagiarizing your own stuff because you care too much about it being your own stuff rather than actually why you expressed it, right? Did you express this information to deliver the message, or did you express it to make sure that only you have the message and no one else does? When we look at Gemini, the messenger, the messenger is not about I and only I can deliver this message, right? People sometimes get really stuck in their own egos about what is theirs and what's not theirs to deliver, about what's their content and what's not their content to deliver. You die alone. You do not take this material world with you, not even the message. And sometimes the messenger gets killed off once the message is delivered. Don't get killed off. How do you not get killed off? Let go. Let go. If somebody is plagiarizing you or mimicking you, let it go, because what it's showing you is a shadow side of somewhere along the line. You learned something, you mimic from somebody else, because ain't nothing new under the sun. And we all know that when we look at Gemini. We're all just taking and learning from each other and rehashing it and remaking it and remixing it, for our own crowds and for our own people. So the second level of Lilith and Gemini is being a victim to all things that are wordy, all things that are media-like, where you're being the one that people are talking about. That's not fun, guys. And I'm really, really sorry if I've done that to anybody. It's just a part of the Gemini energy, because Gemini doesn't work with secrets. It is the complete opposite energy of secrets. So if you're somebody who has a lot of secrets, you're going to struggle with this energy, because this energy is the whistleblower. It's snitching season. That's what I should call this video. Snitching season. That's what it is. It's snitching season. And either you're going to expose yourself, or you're going to tell the truth, or somebody else is going to tell it for you. Okay, so, I didn't want to really do this. I have notes on this. I've been holding my notes for this talk for weeks, but, and then I lost my voice. I'm like, I don't need to do this. The answers just told me that I just do the work and they'll carry me through. So that's what I'm going to do. Okay, now let's talk about the highest elevation of Lilith. And the only reason that she's the highest is because in this world of the sun, and us being sun people, that we do look for the lightest, brightest version of ourselves, okay? So the only reason she's the highest is because there is morals with Lilith. When she reaches her highest level, she's able to integrate her light and her darkness, okay? And this is somebody who is telling their truth, not the truth of somebody else. They're telling their truth, their stories. They're exposing their own insecurities. They're exposing their own gossip. They're exposing their own lies. And they'll defend themselves from people who try to defame them. That's a lot of fun. That part's a lot of fun. So if anybody's out here trying to speak lies about you, you have a platform somewhere in this godforsaken earth. Naya, don't hit him. No touching. We all have a platform where we're free to express ourselves now. And so Lilith and Gemini on her highest level works in your best favor. But unfortunately, even in this level, you have to deal with lies, slander, and gossip. It's just that it doesn't hurt you either. It doesn't hurt you in the highest form. And if it comes at you, all you do is simply, decode or make the truth what it needs to be. The truth. You tell your truth. And that's it. Okay? So I'm going to talk about the full moon energy in my write-up. I'm not going to do a video on it. But I wanted to make sure I talked about this Lilith and Gemini, because that's what's really, really strong for me. Oh, I got one more thing I got to say. What am I doing? We haven't talked about the sexy part about Lilith and Gemini. Okay, so Dark Goddess Lilith also evokes her sexuality, right? In all of the signs, she does it in a different way. And now in Gemini, she does it with what? Her words, sexual innuendos, sexual mentalities, right? Her mental game is strong, right? And when she attracts people because they like her swag, they like her attitude. Okay, so this is how Lilith and Gemini trumps every sexual person, or trumps anything, especially when Lilith is in Gemini. This will be the strongest suit, is through the evoking of your words, of speaking in a very seductive way. This is a time of erotica. It is a time of erotica. It's a time of listening to sexy things, of writing sexy things, sexy poems, sexy short stories. Short specifically because Gemini is a short energy. It's not a lengthy energy, okay? You find your sermons, them long ass messages and lectures, in Sagittarius. In Gemini, you just get the short messages. So short stories, short, sexy stories. It's a time where you can remix and change things up, right? In a very quick way. You want to work with your quickness and you want to work with your wittiness, okay? Lilith and Gemini also is big on the hands. I've actually been dealing with some arthritis in my hands. I have a moon in Gemini. So this energy may evoke either healthy things with your hands, right? And when we talk about sexy stuff, you already know where I'm going. So you can, already imagine like all of the things that you could do with your hands and how hands are going to be your hand, like your ligaments are going to be the most sexy and seductive things, because that's just how it works with Gemini. Okay, but yeah, if you're dealing with any health issues or anything like that, it might be also in the ligaments or in the hands or what they call the extremities of the body, because these are the parts of the body that Gemini rules over. I also want to do a really bring up, because of my own personal reasons, we have to bring up the fact that you're going to have certain people who role play Lilith and Gemini to you as, on a sexual level. Let's talk about sexual level and then we'll go back to just general levels. Okay, on a sexual level, there are certain people who are going to role play to you. These people are going to be people who embrace their bisexuality, people who embrace anything that has to do with, two things that they're interested in. Okay, because that's what rules over Gemini, guys. Okay, now general role players are going to be cousins, aunts, uncles. Okay, cousins, aunts, and uncles, extended family members, neighbors. Okay, they all may embody Lilith energy right now. So you might be somebody who is experiencing your cousins, right? Either slandering, or gossiping, or taking things to another level with their words, or they might be being sexier around you, or more sexier online, or on a media outlet. This is very normal. Now you might have been like, I've already been seeing that, or I don't see that, but it might just be more prominent, more dominant. Excuse me. Okay, same thing for aunts and uncles. You guys, I'm a Venus and Aries, so I show off my sexy self with my music and my TikToks. Everybody's been calling me auntie, and I've been so offended. But then it made me think, you know what? This is totally Lilith and Gemini energy. Why do I need to be offended? Like, that's the last thing as a Gemini I should ever be. Because we know this. We know that this energy, it's just the frequency. It's the measurement of the frequency of the energies. So yeah, definitely your cousins, your aunts, your uncles. Aunts and uncles might be major themes in your life, right? After all of the top things that I've talked about, they might be slanderers, gossipers, whistleblowers, snitchers, you know what I'm saying? Or they might be evoking more of their sexual side, and you're just there to see it now. These might be role players, okay? Neighbors, you want to watch out for the sneaky neighbors. You might have neighbors that are listening to you. You might have neighbors that are listening in on your conversations. Watch out. You might have people who are really like not minding their own business. Watch out. This Lilith and Gemini energy is hidden energy. Sometimes you can't always see it. But you're just wondering, well, why is everybody acting a little funny now? Maybe they heard something you said about them. right? Or maybe they just heard that conversation you had with your, with your some whoever else is in your house. So you just really want to understand that this Lilith and Gemini energy, dark goddess energy, thrives here. Why? Oof, it goes really ancient, but a part of the rules of astrology is that the goddess lives in the third house. And what is the third house ruled by? It's ruled by Gemini. And for some reason, Gemini gives her the ability to be seen, is the first sign where she's the most able to be seen and felt. Okay? She's comfortable in Taurus. She doesn't have to feel as estranged in Taurus, right? She can actually indulge in her luxurities and her exotic tastes in Taurus. So Lilith doesn't feel so much like an outcast in Taurus. She starts to just feel, like everybody's taking advantage of her, and she could deal with that. She'll deal with that. She did deal with that. But in Gemini, she starts to be like, oh, wait a second. These mofos, they ain't nobody know about them. Nobody ever corrected them. Nobody ever told them where they was wrong. Now I want to do it. Now I want to take it to that level. And so Lilith in Gemini starts to be the goddess who is unafraid. She is the person that is unafraid. Okay? Are you afraid of who you really are? In your most natural self? Lilith is going to show you if you are afraid of who you are in your most natural self. And by nature and by the laws of metaphysics, you have two selves. You have your light and your dark. Okay? See you later.